a base class or the parent class is having some features, if there is an inheritance relationship between the parent class and the child class, then the child class can also access the features of parent class. So this is what we studied, and also we studied five types of inheritance in C++, like single, multi-level, multiple, hybrid, hierarchical. So we studied five kinds of inheritance, and also what is inheritance and how to use them. So first thing was like I was talking about the simple one. I was talking about the simple inheritance. So in the last class, I just gave you an example that there is a class called animal. So animal class is containing a variable called age and a method called eat method. So what this method is doing means it is just printing some message like eating. So after that, I provided the relation, like I provided the inheritance relationship between animal class and dog class. So how to provide that class, derived class name, colon, and the mode of access, in which mode you want to inherit the parent class, whether it is in a public mode or in a private mode or in the protected mode. So after this, the class name, the base class here is animal. So now after creating an inheritance relationship, now this dog class can use the features of animal class. That means it can use the variable age, it can use the variable age, and the method eat. Now I will also add few more. Few more methods to this dog class. So in addition to eat class, I'll add one more method called bark method. I'll add one more method called bark method to dog class. So what it will do means it will just display a message called barking. It will just display a message called barking. So whenever I'm calling this bark method, it will display a message called barking. So now animal class is having one function or one method called eat method, and this dog class is having bark method. So or the function called bark. So using the dog object, using the object of child class. So how to create the object? Class name, that is the derived class name, and the object name. So you can access. So if I write db.age means it is able to access the parent's class variable. If I call it as db.eat, it is able to access the function called, it is able to access the function called eat, which is available in animal class. So in addition to this, I will access the function of child class. Child class contains bark method. Okay. Hmm. So, hmm. Okay. There is a method called bark class. So after this, after printing the age, let me display this bark method in new line. So now if I run this, hmm, I build this, it is not having any error. So if I run this, see, I'm getting the message as eating, age is 19. So even though I'm using the dog class object, is the console visible? Is this output visible? Yes or no? Is the console visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, now one second. Using dog object, I am able to access parent class method, that is eating, and parent class variable, that is the age, and also its own class method, that is bark method. So that's why I'm able to access those two functions or two methods and one variable. So that's why I'm getting this output. So now why I explained this simple inheritance, because so we had discussed in the introduction class of classes and objects that the public here, the access modifier can be three things. Here the access modifier can be three things. One is so one is like public, private, and protected. So here the access modifier can be three things. Either you can use the public one, or you can use the private one, or you can use it as the protected. So the like that we had discussed. So now first example was regarding, we had made all the members of the class as public. That is, the variable was also public and the method was also public. The next scenario, I made the variable as private. So once I made the variable as private, you were able to understand that you are not able to access the variable called age outside the class. For example, if I had made, for example, if I had made this variable age as private, if I made this variable age as private, you know that this variable age will not be accessible outside this class. Outside this class called animal, that variable age cannot be accessed. So if you want to access that variable age means you have to use the members which are present inside that animal class to access them. Like some, I told you about some two functions. You will be using the getter method and setter method to access the variables that are there, variables which are made private. So the same concept. Now, what will happen if I make this variable as protected? So for that, protected. So if I make this variable as protected, what will happen? So public, anyone can access. From any place you can access, whether it may be function or whether it may be variable. Private, private variables or private, what do we call the private? Once you make the members as private, the private members are accessible only within that class. So if I make this variable as protected, what will happen? So if I make this variable as protected, if I make this variable as protected, so this variable can be accessed within this class. For example, for example, I'll just print the age. I'll just print the age. So I'll just print here itself. I'll just assign age is 15. I'll just assign age is 15 and I'll just print age is age is age is 1 second. Ages and the age variable. So if I make the variable as protected, if I make the variable as protected, I'll just comment this for just one to explain this concepts. First, I'll just comment this part. So if I make this variable as I make that variable as protected, it is available within the class. So it will be available within the class. It is there in animal class. I'll create some animal object. I'll just create some animal object. After that, using animal object, I'll just access the eat method. I'll just access the eat method. So inside the eat method, I'm printing. Inside the eat method, I'm also printing the age, and also I'm printing um, its value also. And also I'm printing some messages. So you can check that. I'll compile this, no error. I'll run this. See, age is 15 and I'm getting the output as eating. So even I can, I think we'll print it in separate lines. So I will add the end of the line after printing the variable. Okay. So now I'll build this. I'll run this. So within the class, you're able to access the protected members. So within the class, you're able to access like that objects of this animal class is able to access the protected member, so that you can check So if I run this, see, I'm able to access the age value. I'm able to access the eat function. So now I can access directly also. So instead of like this, I can print the age directly. So instead of like this, I can print the age directly using the object animal object dot age. I want to print the age directly. So now check what will happen. So now if I build this, hmm. So since see now now you might ask me that, sir, you told that using animal object, you can print, you can access the members within that class, and also using the objects of that class. So now why I'm not able to access, why I'm not able to access directly, why I'm not able to access this animal object, like why I'm not able to access this variable age through the animal object directly, because I've made this variable as protected. So if I want to access this variable called age, means I can access them through the methods or member functions that are present inside that class. So directly if I write um, that object, directly if I try to get that variable, I'll get an error like it is protected. But I can access them, I can access them through the functions. So that is what I had done here. See here, I'm not sorry, I think this is the dog class. Hmm. So in the first example, that is what I had done. So in the first example, I did not access the object. That means I did not access the variable directly. I accessed them through the member function, that is animal object dot eat. So now you won't get the error because it is protected, right? So protected, it is available to the members inside that class, and also it is accessible to the classes which has inherited them. So protected access means this member will be accessible within this class and also to the classes which has inherited this class. So that means if you have made a variable as protected, the class in which it is declared, it can access the variables, and the derived classes which has inherited this class can access them. For example, I made I made a variable age as protected in animal class, so it can be accessed by the member functions of animal class, and and it is accessible. That age function is accessible to the inherited classes, derived classes, the classes which has inherited animal. So for example, here the dog, here the dog has inherited this class called animal. So dog is the derived class and animal is the base class. So that means the protected members can be accessible within the class, and outside the classes only derived class can access them. Any doubt here? Any doubt here? Any doubt in the definition or any doubt in the explanation? Any doubts? Yes or no? Yes or no? See, respond to the classes so that I will.
No, sir.
Okay. So now the same thing. Now the same thing. First example what I gave an example of this variable called age, which was accessible within this function called eat function. Now I made this as protected, right? So by definition, protected means it can be accessible within this class called animal. Within this class called animal, you can access them. And also outside the class means it is accessible by its derived classes. Here the dog class is deriving, like here the dog is the derived class which is inheriting the features of animal class. So within this class also you can access that variable called age. So that variable age can be accessed within this its own class, animal class, and the derived class called dog. So how to access them means directly you cannot access them. You can access them with the help of functions. Void. I'll just write a function. Um, void set age. So I want to access what I want to access. I want to access a variable called age. I want to access a variable called age. So I'll write it as like this. So I'm accessing that variable age with the help of functions. So using get method and method, I'm able to access it the same way you would have written in private, right? Integer get age. So what it will do? It will return the age. It will return the age. So you can change the value of age using this method called set age method, and you can retrieve the value of age using uh, get age method. So one thing you understand where this is being done. So age function is declared in, sorry, age variable is declared in animal class. But since there is a inheritance relationship between the dog and the animal, where the dog is the derived class or the child class and animal is the base class, so this protected member or the protected variable age is available to this dog class also. So age is available to age is available to dog class because of inheritance relationship, so now I am using the set age method and get age method to give some value to the age variable and to retrieve that value. So now let's check that. Now let's check that. So now I'm using the object of dog class. I'll just give it as dog object. Some name you can give. See, you can give any name. So what is the syntax? How to create an object means the class name. The class name is dog and the object name. I can give it as DG. I can give it as DOG underscore child, or I can give it as DOGOB, or I can give it as A, I can give it as B. The name can be anything. So you just need to follow the standards. That's all. Um, I'll just give it as DG. Now, first I'll access the methods. DG dot, I can access the eat method of animal class. I can access the bark method of dog class. After this, I will access the age. So now in order to access the age, I have two methods, set age and get age method. So set age means I can give the value, I can set the value. So how to set that means object dot method. What is the method? Set age method. So after this, I have to pass the value. I'll give it as 10. I'll give it as 10. So you can, there is one small mistake in this. Can you notice that? Can you notice the mistake in main function? Can anyone notice the mistake in main function? So there is some small mistake here. Line 39, 40 and 42. There is some small mistake. Can you notice that? Can anyone notice that? So you should be like, so if you're understanding the concept means you should be able to notice the mistake. What is the mistake? Can anyone tell that? Yes or no? One small mistake is there. What is that? So the mistake is like, what is the object name I've given? The object name I've given it as DG, but what I'm typing here, I'm typing it as DB. So DB is different and DG is different. So this will not be a dog object. So dog object means DG only. So whatever name I am giving here, that should be written here. DG dot date, DG dot bark. So DG dot set age. That means dog object dot set age. So I'm giving the value of 10. I'm giving the value of 10 to that age variable. So I want to print that. So if I want to print that means age is space. After that, how to get the age, how to retrieve the age means there is a method called get age method. So get age. After this, I'll just add one new line. That's all. So if I run this, for this I'll get the output as eating. For this I'll get the output as barking. So if I write like this means, see, if I write like this, here 10, it is expecting integer. So the 10 will be copied to age variable. So this statement, what it will do, it will write age is equal to 10. So after this, what this line will do means it will return age. What is the value of age? Age is 10. So this will be the output which you will be getting. Eating, barking, age is 10. So we'll build this program. So we'll run this program. So see the same thing. Eating, barking, and age is 10. So this is what the output you will be getting. So this is an example of um, how to access the variables or how to access the members if you're using the access specifier as protected. So you should be clear now. So what do you mean by classes? What do you mean by objects? So you should be clear with the fundamentals. So what do you mean by classes? What do you mean by objects? How to create the classes? How to define the classes? So inside the classes, what will be there? So the first line will be the access modifier. It can be public, it can be private, it can be protected. So if you are not writing anything, it will be treated as private. By default, all the members of a class are private. So after that, it can have n number of variables, it can have n number of functions, depending upon the operation or depending upon the task which is being performed. So that is the next thing. So once the class is created, you can create objects. So how to create the objects? Object can be created through class name space object name. So that part is done. Creating the class is done. Creating the object is done. How to access the members? Object name dot member name. It can be a variable or it can be function. So member in the sense members of the class means it can be variable or it can be functions. So for example, if you take our example, if we are accessing here, we are accessing here how we are accessing the variables means like see variables of functions means object name dot function name, that's all, like that we are accessing. So this part is done, classes is done, objects is done. So prior public, so public means we I gave an example and that was explained with an example. So everyone can access, any class can access the members of the like if I made the member as public, that member is accessible within the class, outside the class. Anyone can access those members. The second thing, if I make if I make a member as private, it is highly restrictive access. Only the members who are there within that class can access them. Outside the class, the access is not at all possible. So that is the next thing. So, and also the third one, protected. So if I make it as a protected, then the members of that class can access them. So outside the class, only the derived classes can access them. So now we just studied that with an example. So after this, we'll talk about few examples. We'll talk about few examples of inheritance, and then few implementations of inheritance, and then we can go with what do you mean by polymorphism? What do you mean by encapsulation, abstraction? So we'll talk about that also. We'll talk about that also. So right now, the first example is done. Single inheritance is done. So what is that single inheritance? Two classes are there and one class is using the features of another class. So one class is a base class and one class will be the child class. So now the same thing we will check. Now the same thing we'll check. I'll just use the member functions. So there is a class called animal and there is a class called dog. So single inheritance or simple inheritance is done. So now we will go with multi-level. So now we'll check the other types of inheritance. Any doubts so far? Any doubts so far? Any doubts so far regarding the classes, objects, access modifiers, then inheritance? Any doubt? Any doubts so far? Any doubts? So I'll just give the simplified
No,
example.
sir.
Okay, okay. So any doubt is there, you can interrupt me in the middle and you can ask me. So now we'll start looking into the examples one by one. Okay. So first one was the single. Like I'd made the class animal. So I'd made the class animal and animal had one method called eat method and class dog. So this dog was inheriting the animal method using this inheritance relationship, mm, public animal. So one example we have studied. Now we'll talk about the multi-level. Now we'll talk about multi-level. So multi-level means there will be three classes: class A, class B, class C. So class A is the base class and class B is the derived class for class A. In turn, class B will act as the base class for class C and class C will be the derived classes. the functions or the members of class A is available to class B. The members of class B is available to class C. So class C can access members of class B and class A, whereas class B can access members of class A. So now let's go. Now let's go with that. So there is one class A. First, I'll write class A. So class A. So first there is one class called class A. Then the logic of class A or the members of class A. Then class B. Class B and the members of class B. So after that, class C. Just write it as one small class. Public. Then I'll write one method called okay. Some simple examples. So three methods are there. Here we should know the accessing thing. So we'll just check. Hmm. There is a class A, class B, and class C. Now I want to give the relationship. So how it will work? So class B is inheriting the features of class A. So class B is this dog. So how to provide the inheritance? Public that class name. So I given the inheritance relationship between what is this? I given the inheritance relationship between animal class and dog class. After this, after this, one more thing you check. Class C is inheriting class B. So class C is inheriting class B. So class puppy colon public. What is the derived class name? Dog. Should not write animal. Animal is the base class for dog class. So dog class will act as the base class for public. Public, then dog. So after this, we'll go to the main classes. So main class. So now, see now, I'll create, I'll create the object of, now I'll create, one second. Now I'll create the object of class C. Class C in the sense puppy. So if I create an object of puppy, class name is puppy and object, right? Some PBO. So puppy can access, see puppy can access its own method. Then the methods of bark. Why bark? Because the relationship. Puppy can access members of dog class. So bark function is also available. But since this dog class is accessing the member, since this dog class is inheriting the animal class, so dog can access the members of each function. That means here for dog class, it has two functions. One is eat function and the other one is bark function. Because of inheritance, eat and bark functions are available to dog class. So for this puppy class, since it is inheriting the dog class, the functions of dog class, that is eat and bark, as well as cry is also available. So using puppy classes, you can access all the members of this class since there is a multi-level inheritance. So that you can check PBO dot. If I write it as puppy object dot C, the three functions are available. I can access bark, I can access cry, I can access eat. So bark is, first I'll write cry. Cry is the method of puppy class. After this, using puppy object, I will access bark. Bark is the method of dog class. Using this, I can access, what is that? Eat method. Eat is the method of which was there in animal. See, this cry was there in class puppy. This was there in class dog. And this eat method was there in class eat method where it was there? It was there in animal. So now if I run this, see, using puppy class object, I can access all the members. See, I can access all the members. I'm getting the output as eating, barking, crying. So now the same thing. So yeah, is this example clear? Is this example clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the same thing. So now the same thing you check. Puppy object can access three functions. So you check what dog object can access. I'll write it as DOB. I'll write it as DOB, dog object. So using dog object, I told you that you can access eat method and bark method. So using dog object, you can use two things: eat method and bark method. See, eating, barking. So the same thing. So you cannot access the base class. The base class cannot access the child class members. For example, if I write dog object dot cry method, you cannot access them. You cannot access them because the dog objects means the base class objects cannot hold or cannot access child class members. So if I try to write this, I'll get an error. The cry method, I'll get an error telling that the cry method is not there inside the dog class. The cry method is not there inside the dog class. So if I run this, I'll get the error. You can check that. If I run this code, if I run this code, I'll get the error. You can check that because this dog class does not have a method called cry. See, this cry is there in puppy class. It's not there in cry class. So if I build this, I'll get an error. See, the class dog doesn't have a member named cry. That means this cry function is not there inside the dog class. So that is the error which you are going to get. Okay. So now this is an example. This is an example of multi-level inheritance. Now, uh, now we'll go with hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance in the sense there will be one base class which will be referred by more than one derived classes. So here there is one class called A that is being referenced by two classes called B and C. So this can be more than two also. This can be more than two also. There will be one base class which will be referenced by multiple child classes. So now we'll just talk about this. Class A is the base class. B and C are the derived classes. The same example only you can modify. The same example only you can modify, delete, delete this. So there is one class called animal. Okay, there is one class. Animal class is there. Animal class is there. Uh, Animal class is there. Dog class is there. Then puppy class is there. So what is this hierarchical inheritance? One base class, multiple derived classes. That means B is referring to A. C is also referring to A. You can check that. Now the same logic we'll write here. Uh, this is the base class. So now this is a derived class. So this dog is a derived class. We'll make this as a derived class. Public animal. Public animal. That means there was a class A. The dog class is accessing the members of animal and one base class, one derived class. Dog is accessing the base class animal. And again, puppy, it is also accessing, this class is also accessing. So this class is also, so if not, I'll make this as cat class. Okay. I'll make it as a cat class. Um, Instead of crying, at some function called how it will make sound. Mm. Okay. So I'll just make this. Okay. So now there is a class called animal. It is having a function called eat. There is a class called dog. It is having the function bark. So I see sometimes I'll be telling it as function, sometimes I'll be telling it as methods. They're one and the same. They're one and the same. So different terminologies. And there's a class called cat. It is having a function called meow. So now, as per our hierarchical inheritance example, this class called B and C should refer to the base class called A. So now here in our example, we are taking animal as the base class and dog and cat as the derived classes. So that means here both the classes should inherit the animal class. So that for that example is like the dog class should also inherit animal class. How to do that? Public animal. And the cat class should also inherit the cat class should also inherit animal. Are you getting this? Are you getting this point? Yes or no?
Yes,
See,
sir.
fine, right? No doubts.
No, sir.
Okay, okay. So then we'll go ahead. We'll go ahead then. So now dog class is inheriting the animal class. So now the dog class contains can access eat function. It can access bark function. Okay. Now this is clear. Now what can the cat class access? Since cat is inheriting animal class, the cat can also access eat function. The cat can also access eat function and also its own function called meow. So okay, it can access two functions. So now we'll check. Now we'll check. So first we'll create a dog object. Using dog object, you can access eat function, you can access bark function. So I'll create a dog object. So I'll create a dog object, class name space, the object name. So now, I'll just build this. Hmm. Now, using the dog object, what can I access? Using the dog object, I can access eat function of animal class, then bark function of dog class. So I'll run this. I'll build this. I'll run this. So I'll get them output as eating, barking. Eating is from animal class, barking is from dog class. Again the same thing. Again, I'll just comment this part. Again, I'll comment this part. So you just I'll create the cat class. Cat object. After this, using cat object, I can access eat function of animal class and meow function of cat class. So now I'll run this. I'll get the output as cat and meow. So see, I'm getting the I'm getting the output as eating and meow. That is, it is able to access the eat function of animal class and meow function of cat class. So, so now you just check here. What it is happening means the base class function is being used by both classes, dog and cat. That means the derived classes are using the functions of base class. The class A function here, the animal contains a function called eat that is being used by the classes called dog and cat. That you can check. So now I'll just uncomment this so you can see uh, the first one. I'll write it as just write it as dog class. Dog class, cat class. Okay. So we'll check. So now you can see, now you can check. I'll just build this. I'll run this. So you can check. One second. I'll just add the new line parameter. Build. Run this. Okay. So eating, barking, cat class. One second. One second. I'll just add. Okay, the function is being added. Okay, fine. Hmm. I'll add one more new line to separate that functions. Just this is all formatting. That's all. So this is nowhere related to the logic. Hmm. Build, run. See now I'm able to see now I'm able to, with that example itself. You can take that example itself. I've created one base class called animal and two derived classes called dog class and cat class. Using dog class object, I am accessing the animal class function and dog class function. Using cat class, I'm accessing the animal class function as well as the cat class function. That means two derived classes here, dog and cat, they're accessing the base class function called eating. So that base class function eat is available to derived classes dog and cat classes. So that is what. So the base class function is shared among the multiple derived classes. So this is an example of hierarchical inheritance. Any doubt here? Any doubt? Any doubt? Yes or no? Any doubts? So if you have any doubts, you just let me know now itself. Any doubt? Is this understood? Single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance. This part is clear, right? So if this is clear, we will go with the next example, multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance. So from the what do we call, from this mm, diagram, you can check that multiple inheritance means, so here the child class is deriving the features from more than one parent classes. So here the multiple base classes are there and one derived classes there. One second, I'll just have some water. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. So here, um, multiple base classes are there and one child class is there. So that is what. So that is what. So the child class is getting the features from more than one base class. So that is an example. Like it's the reverse of hierarchical inheritance. You can call there one base class was there and multiple classes were getting the features from its base class. Now here multiple base classes are there and all these base classes are referred by a single child class. So now let's modify our own example. Is the definition? It's not the definition. It's the working. So here multiple base classes are there. Here class A is there and class B are there. There is no relationship between class A and class B. Whereas class C, it is getting the features from class A as well as class B. That is, it is getting the details. It is getting the details from features from class A as well as class B. The same thing we'll check with the programming example. The programming example. Hmm. Just I just give some. We'll go with a new example. I think we'll go with new example so that so one base class I'll take it as mammal. One base class I'll take it as mammal, and the second base class I will take it as winged animal, winged animal. So these two will act as the base class for me, and there is one child class called bat. There is one child class called bat. It will act as the child class for me. So I told you that here you can refer multiple base classes. You can refer multiple base classes. So multiple base classes are there. Um, so I'm just deriving the relationship now. So for class, I'll just give for the base class called mammal. I'll just give one message as one function. I'll give just display function. I'll give. So what it will display means I am a mammal. That's all. I'm a mammal. It will display. So this is my base class one. There is one more base class called winged animal. Winged animal. Just give the function as fly. Just give the function as fly. I'll just write one message called I can fly. So now two functions are given, one for each classes, one for mammal class. There is a function called display, which will display a message called I am a mammal, and for one more class called winged animal, there is a function called fly, which will display the message I can fly. So there is one more class called bat class, right? So bat class. For this also, I'll give some function. What functions I'll give? I'll just give it as bat eat. Just give the eat function to bat. So a message called I can eat. Okay. So now there are three classes here. In our example, there are three classes. One is the mammal class, one is the winged animal class, and the other one is bat class. So I told you that in multiple, in this, what do we call, in this multiple inheritance. So multiple base classes will be there, and as a derived class is getting the features from more than one base classes. So now in our example, mm, here we have class called animal. I'll take this as a base class one, and there is one more class called winged animal. This also I'll take it as the base class. So now the bat class will get the features from more than one class, more than one class. We'll call it as multiple inheritance. The child class will receive the features from more than one parent class. So how to do that? Now the bat class has to get the features of animal class, the mammal class as well as winged animal. So how to do that means class bat colon, then this is the syntax public, the first class which I want to derive. I want to provide the relationship between mammal class and bat class. So I'll write it as mammal. Then even I want to give the relationship between bat and winged animals. How to do that? Comma, public, winged animal, winged animal, winged. Okay. So it is a case sensitive. So it should match with the letters also. So this is the syntax. One base class is getting the features from two one child class is getting the features from two classes. So here the two classes are mammal and winged animal. So both are inherited in public mode. See, the syntax is like um, class 1 comma class 2. Even you can add other classes also, or you can add one more class also if that class is there. If for example, if there is a class called dog, you can add that also. So this is the syntax. Is it understood? How to inherit multiple classes? How to inherit multiple classes means class, derived class name, then base class 1, base class 2. Any doubt? Like this you can continue. You can inherit multiple number of classes. After this, I'll create an object of bat class called bt. Using the bat class, I can access its method. Eat method is of bat class. Then I can access fly method of winged animal class. I can access display method of mammal class. See what output I'll get. We just check this. I'll close. The compilation was not. See now what I will get. Something somewhere semicolon is not okay. Okay, here. Okay, I'll build this and I'll run this. See, I'll get the output as I can eat, I can fly, I am a mammal. That means this function, this function, eat is accessible, this function fly is accessible, and this function display is also accessible. So bat is able to access the members of public and winged animal. So this is an example of uh, multiple uh, inheritance. Any doubt? Any doubt? Any doubt in this? So you can try the example of this hybrid inheritance. So hybrid inheritance is a combination of hierarchical and multiple. So you just try how you can implement this hybrid inheritance. I'll just check in the next classes. You just check, you just work on this. If you're not able to get this, I'll just implement the same thing. So if you have any doubt also, you can um, message me regarding the same. So try this example of hybrid inheritance, how you can write in a C++. So you just